Fear of intimacy is not simply fear of dating or fear of love. It is fear of being truly seen, known, needed, or emotionally affected by another person. Someone may want closeness and still pull away when closeness becomes real. That contradiction can confuse partners, but inside the person, intimacy may feel less like comfort and more like exposure. Intimacy asks for vulnerability. It means letting someone know preferences, fears, needs, flaws, memories, and hopes. For a person who learned that vulnerability leads to criticism, rejection, control, or disappointment, openness can feel dangerous. The fear is not always conscious. The body may react before the person can explain why they suddenly need distance. One route is early emotional learning. If caregivers were unpredictable, dismissive, intrusive, or harsh, a child may learn that closeness is not safe. The child might become self-reliant, quiet, pleasing, guarded, or hyper-alert. Later, adult relationships activate the same old learning. A caring partner may feel wonderful at first, then strangely threatening when attachment deepens. Fear of intimacy can also come from betrayal. Someone who was cheated on, mocked, abandoned, or used may begin protecting themselves by staying emotionally half-available. They may date, flirt, or enjoy companionship, but keep the deepest parts hidden. The strategy prevents some pain, but it also blocks the kind of closeness they may privately want. The fear often shows up right after a relationship becomes more serious. A person may enjoy casual connection, then feel trapped when labels, future plans, family introductions, or deeper conversations appear. They might become busy, critical, distant, or unsure. The partner may think love disappeared, but the shift may be a defense against feeling emotionally dependent. Some people fear intimacy because they fear losing themselves. If closeness once meant being controlled, guilted, or swallowed by someone else's needs, independence becomes precious. A simple request for more time together may feel like the start of losing freedom. The person may protect space aggressively, even when the current partner is not actually controlling. Others fear that being known will lead to rejection. They may think, if you really see me, you will leave. This belief can create performance in relationships. The person stays charming, useful, agreeable, or impressive, but avoids showing sadness, insecurity, anger, or need. The relationship may look smooth while the person feels lonely behind the performance. Fear of intimacy can create mixed signals. Someone may be warm and affectionate one weekend, then cold the next week. They may say they want connection but avoid serious talks. They may initiate closeness and then criticize the partner for wanting too much. These shifts are painful because the partner keeps trying to understand which version is real. Avoidance is one common strategy. The person may stay busy, keep conversations practical, joke during emotional moments, delay commitment, or focus on the partner's flaws. These behaviors create distance without always admitting fear. It can feel easier to say, "This relationship is not right," than to say, "Closeness is making me feel exposed." Control is another strategy. If intimacy feels unpredictable, the person may try to control the pace, the topics, the timing, or the emotional depth. They may prefer relationships where they are needed but not deeply known, or where they can leave before feeling left. Control gives temporary safety, but it prevents mutual trust from developing. Fear of intimacy is not the same as having healthy boundaries. A boundary says, "This is what I need to stay safe and respectful." Fear-driven avoidance says, "I must stay distant even when closeness is healthy." Boundaries can be explained and negotiated. Fear often hides, withdraws, attacks, or disappears when vulnerability appears. Partners can accidentally make the cycle stronger. If one person pulls away and the other panics, demands, or chases, the fearful person may feel even more trapped. Then they withdraw more, and the partner becomes more anxious. Both people may be reacting to fear. The cycle becomes the enemy, not just one person's behavior. A healthier response begins with naming the pattern without turning it into an accusation. Instead of saying, "You were emotionally broken," a partner might say, "When we get closer and then you disappear, I feel confused and hurt. Can we talk about what happens for you in those moments?" That keeps the conversation connected to behavior and impact. The person who fears intimacy can practice staying present in small doses. That might mean sharing one honest feeling, asking for comfort instead of withdrawing, or saying, "I need an hour to settle down, but I am not leaving the conversation." Small moments of safe openness teach the nervous system that intimacy does not always end in danger. Trustworthy partners can help by being steady, but they cannot do the inner work for someone else. Patience does not mean accepting neglect, secrecy, or repeated harm. A partner can offer safety, listen, and respect pace, while still having standards for communication and repair. Compassion and self-protection need to exist together. Therapy or guided self-reflection can help when fear of intimacy is tied to trauma, abandonment, shame, or old family patterns. The goal is not to force closeness overnight. The goal is to understand the alarm system, separate past danger from present safety, and build skills for connection without panic or self-erasure. Intimacy becomes less frightening when it is paced, honest, and respectful. A person does not have to reveal everything at once. They can build capacity slowly. They can learn what closeness feels like when it includes choice, privacy, repair, and mutual respect. Safe intimacy is not a loss of self. It is being known without being controlled. Intimacy fear can hide behind high standards. The person may reject partners for small imperfections because flaws give them a reason to step back. Standards are important, but fear can turn ordinary human limits into proof that closeness is unsafe. The pattern becomes clear when every promising relationship ends as soon as emotional dependence appears. Some people also confuse intensity with intimacy. Fast chemistry, constant texting, or dramatic longing can feel deep, but real intimacy includes steadiness, honesty, repair, and ordinary presence. When the relationship becomes less dramatic and more real, fear may appear. The person may mistake calm closeness for boredom or danger. The way forward is not to shame the fear. Shame usually makes the wall thicker. A better path is curiosity, pacing, and accountable behavior. The person can ask, "What am I afraid will happen if I let this person matter?" That question turns the reaction into something that can be understood instead of automatically obeyed. Some people fear intimacy because closeness once came with pain, pressure, rejection, or loss of control. The fear makes sense, but it does not have to run every relationship forever. Healing begins when the person can notice the pull to escape, name what intimacy is triggering, and choose one honest step instead of disappearing behind the wall. Over time, those small honest steps can teach the body that closeness can include choice, respect, and protection instead of only danger. Support helps most when it respects pace while still expecting honesty, repair, and basic emotional responsibility. The safest progress usually looks small from the outside, but it matters because the person is staying present instead of running.